I speak to you not as one who theorizes about these principles, but as one who has tested them in the crucible of experience and found them to be unfailingly true. What I share with you tonight is not philosophy alone, but a practical approach to living that will revolutionize your experience of reality. For when you truly understand what I am about to tell you, you will never again be a victim of circumstance, never again feel powerless in the face of what appears to be. The universe has been waiting for you to see that you are God pushed out into expression. The I am within you is not separate from the divine I am that created all that is. I and my Father are one, as the scripture tells us. This is not blasphemy, it is the highest reclamation of nature and the key to unlocking your limitless potential. Every moment of your life you've been using this divine power, though perhaps unconsciously. Every state you have ever occupied, every circumstance you have ever encountered, has been drawn into your experience by the magnetic force of your imagination and belief. The world you see is not the cause of your consciousness is the cause of the world you see. Let me tell you a simple truth that most of humanity has yet to grasp. Your imagination is the very workshop of creation. What you imagine with feeling, with conviction, with the full force of your being, must inevitably externalize itself in your world. This is not wishful thinking or fanciful speculation. It is the fundamental law by which all things come into being. When you imagine yourself to be limited, to be lacking, to be separate from your good, you are using the divine power within you to create that very experience. And when you imagine yourself to be whole, abundant, loved, and free, you are using that same power to create that reality instead. The choice has always been yours, though perhaps until now, you have not known that you were choosing. The universe has been waiting for you to see that there is no power outside of you that can withstand your conscious, deliberate use of imagination. No circumstance is permanent unless you perpetuate it through your continued assumption of its reality. No condition is immutable unless you continue to breathe life into it through your belief in its necessity. Consider for a moment everything in your current experience began as a state of consciousness, as an assumption that you accepted as true. Your relationships, your financial status, your health, your very sense of identity, all of these are the outpicturing of states that you have occupied in consciousness. Nothing has come to you that you did not first accept in mind, either consciously or unconsciously. The great secret that the universe has been waiting for you to see is that you can change these states at will. You are not bound to any particular state of consciousness unless you choose to be. You can, at any moment, step out of a state that does not serve you and into one that does. And as you change your state within, the world without must correspondingly change to reflect your new assumption. This is the true meaning of rebirth, not a physical death and resurrection, but a perpetual renewal of consciousness. I die daily, said Paul. And so do you as you let go of old concepts of yourself and embrace new ones. Each time you shift your consciousness, you are dying to an old self and being born to a new one. And each rebirth brings with it a new heaven and a new earth, a new experience of reality that corresponds to your new state of being. The universe has been waiting for you to see that time is not a barrier to the fulfillment of your desires. In the realm of imagination, the future event you long for already exists, complete and perfect. Your task is not to create it, but to appropriate it, to assume the feeling of its reality here and now. For what you feel as true, though invisible to your physical senses, is more authentic, more substantial than anything you can touch or see. When you close your eyes and dare to feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled, you are not indulging in fantasy, you are engaging with reality at its most fundamental level. You are stepping into the state from which your desire can be made manifest. You are aligning yourself with the version of you who already has what you seek. Too many people pray to a God outside themselves, begging for favors as if from a reluctant deity. They do not realize that the very feeling of their prayer is itself the answer. For when you feel the reality of the state sought, you have found it. The feeling is the secret, the bridge between desire and manifestation, the thread that draws experience to you like a magnet draws iron. The universe has been waiting for you to see that there is no separation between you and that which you desire. The apparent gap between wanting and having is crossed not by time or effort, but by assumption. Assume you are what you wish to be, and you will become it. Assume you have what you wish to have, and it must come into your experience. This is not magic, it is the practical application of an immutable law. I recall a young woman who came to me in despair. For years she had been trying to establish herself with business, but despite her talents and her efforts, she remained in a state of perpetual struggle. She asked me what she was doing wrong, why the universe seemed to deny her the success she sought so earnestly. I asked her a simple question. When you think of yourself, do you see yourself as someone striving for success or as someone who is already successful? She admitted that in her mind, she always positioned herself as the aspiring entrepreneur, the one working toward a goal that remained ever out of reach. I told her, there is your problem. As long as you occupy the state of striving for success, that is exactly what you will experience, perpetual striving. You must dare to step into the state of being successful now in your imagination before any physical evidence supports it. You must live from the end, feeling the relief and satisfaction of having already achieved what you desire. She took this advice to heart and began a practice of spending time each day in a state of quiet contemplation, feeling the reality of being the successful business owner she wished to be. She imagined congratulatory conversations, the satisfaction of seeing her bank balance grow, the freedom to make choices without financial constraint. Most importantly, she began to carry herself differently, to speak differently, to think of herself differently throughout her day. Within 3 months, her business underwent a transformation that seemed miraculous to outside observers. New opportunities appeared that she would have previously overlooked. Clients who could significantly advance her success were mysteriously drawn to her. Solutions to long-standing problems emerged with unexpected ease. She had not changed her external actions dramatically, but she had fundamentally the state from which those actions proceeded. And that made all the difference. This is the pattern I have seen repeated countless times. When you change your concept of yourself, when you dare to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, despite all contrary evidence, the universe conspires to reflect back to you your new self-concept. It must, for it is law, and law knows no exceptions. The universe has been waiting for you to see that all of your experiences, all of your circumstances, all of the people and events in your life are reflections of your own consciousness. They are the shadows cast by the light of your assumptions. Change your assumptions, and you change the shadows. It cannot be otherwise. Consider those in your life with whom you have difficulty. Perhaps there is someone who seems consistently hostile, uncooperative, or disrespectful toward you. The natural human tendency is to react to such behavior, to push against it, to try to change the other person's attitude or actions. But this approach keeps you locked in the very state you wish to escape, for what you resist persists. Instead, dare to see that person differently in your imagination. Hear them speaking to you with respect and kindness. Feel the warmth of harmonious interaction with them. Do this not as a technique to manipulate them, but as a recognition that they, too, are yourself pushed out, a reflection of your consciousness. As you persist in this new assumption, you will be amazed at how the other person seems to undergo a transformation. In truth, it is your consciousness of them that is transformed, and they cannot help but reflect the new image you hold. The universe has been waiting for you to see that your present circumstances, no matter how challenging they may appear, are not your enemy but your most devoted teacher. They are showing you with perfect accuracy what you have been conscious of, what you have accepted as true for yourself. If you do not like what you see, do not lament or struggle against it, simply change your consciousness. And what you see must change in response. Too often people come to me deeply concerned about conditions in the outer world, economic downturns, political unrest, environmental challenges, feeling helpless in the face of such seemingly overwhelming forces. I tell them what I tell you now. The world outside is a reflection of the collective consciousness of humanity. And you contribute to that consciousness with every thought, every assumption, every state you occupy. If you would see a better world, you must first be a better consciousness. You must embody the change you wish to see. This is not to absolve you of practical action, but to remind you that all effective action stems from a state of being. Be peace if you would seek peace. Be abundance if you would see abundance. Be love if you would see love. For you cannot give what you do not have. And you cannot lead others where you yourself have not gone. The universe has been waiting for you to see that your consciousness is the only true causative power in your life. External actions, strategies, and efforts may be the channels through which manifestation occurs, but they are not the cause. A change in consciousness always precedes a change in circumstance, never the other way around. Those who do not understand this principle often exhaust themselves with action, pushing against conditions, fighting limitations, striving through force of will to overcome obstacles. They are like someone trying to eliminate their shadow by running away from it, not realizing that the shadow is cast by them and will follow wherever they go. True transformation comes not from changing conditions, but from changing the consciousness from which conditions spring. When you shift your state of being, new paths of action become apparent that were previously invisible to you. Solutions emerge that your limited consciousness could not have conceived. Synchronicities occur that seem miraculous, but are in fact the natural outworking of your expanded awareness. The universe has been waiting for you to see that the state you occupy most habitually becomes your dwelling place, your home in consciousness. If you have been living in a state of lack, of limitation, of fear or resentment, you have made that state your home. And while you may take brief vacations to more pleasant states, moments of joy, of inspiration, of love, you will always return to your home state unless you deliberately choose a new dwelling place. This is the meaning of the biblical phrase, "In my Father's house are many mansions." The mansions are states of consciousness, levels of awareness, each with its own furnishings, its own atmosphere, its own view of life. You can choose at any moment to relocate your consciousness to a more spacious, more beautiful, more beautiful. And when you move your consciousness, your body and your affairs must follow. I know a man who had lived for decades in a state of financial insecurity. Though he earned what would be considered a good income, he never felt safe, never felt he had enough. He budgeted carefully, denied himself small pleasures, and still the fear of lack haunted him. His bank account grew, but his anxiety did not diminish, for his consciousness remained unchanged. One day he realized that his experience of financial limitation was not dictated by his actual resources, but by his consciousness of himself as someone who was always at risk, always one setback away from disaster. In a moment of clarity, he saw that he had been living from a state of consciousness that could never experience abundance, no matter how much money passed through his hands. He decided to relocate his consciousness to the state of absolute financial security. Each night before sleep, and each morning upon waking, he would feel the ease, the comfort, the deep knowing that he was provided for in all ways, that abundance was his natural state. That money came to him easily and frequently from expected and unexpected sources. Within weeks, opportunities for increased income began to present themselves. A forgotten investment yielded unexpected returns. A skill he had developed as a hobby turned out to be in high demand professionally. But more importantly, his relationship with money transformed. He began to experience the psychological freedom that had even when his bank account was full. He had changed his dwelling place in consciousness, and his outer world rearranged itself to match his new address. The universe has been waiting for you to see that the law of assumption operates with mathematical precision. It is not capricious or selective. It does not favor some and deny others. Your assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact regardless of your past, your character, your deservingness in the world's eyes. The law is impersonal and exact, like the law of gravity, which does not care who is falling or why. This is liberating news, for it means that no matter what your past has been, no matter what mistakes you believe you have made, no matter how far you feel you have strayed from your true path, you can begin anew at any moment. The past has no power over your future except the power you give it through your continued assumption of its significance. The universe has been waiting for you to see that you are free now, not tomorrow, not when certain conditions are met, not when you have atoned for perceived failures or earned the right to happiness, but now, in this moment, by the power of your sovereign choice to assume a new state of being. Let me tell you about freedom as it truly is, not as the world conceives of it. True freedom is not the ability to do whatever you please in the external world. True freedom is the capacity to choose your state of consciousness regardless of external circumstances. It is the recognition that while events may seem to happen to you, your experience of those events is determined by you alone, by the state from which you view them. A man imprisoned behind bars who knows this truth is freer than a millionaire who does not. For the prisoner can escape the confines of his situation in consciousness and experience the liberation that comes with that shift, while the millionaire may remain imprisoned by fears, attachments, and limiting beliefs despite his apparent liberty. The universe has been waiting for you to see that what you seek is seeking you with equal intensity. Your desires are not random or arbitrary. They are intimations of what is already yours in the invisible realm of pure potential. The very fact that you can conceive of a state means that state exists as a possibility for you to occupy. When you feel the pull toward greater abundance, deeper love, more vibrant health, or expanded creativity, you are feeling the gravitational pull of a state that already exists, complete and perfect, waiting for you to step into it. Your desire is the bridge between your present state and the state where that desire is fulfilled. But desire alone is not enough. Desire must be transformed into assumption. You must not merely want the state, you must claim it as your own here and now. You must dare to declare, I am that I am, knowing that as you persist in this declaration, made not with the lips but with the feeling nature of your being, the external evidence must follow. The universe has been waiting for you to see that your life is a story you are telling yourself, and you can change the narrative at any point. If the current chapter does not please you, you have the power to begin a new one. You are both the author and the main character of your life story, and the pen is always in your hand. Too many live as if their story is being written by external forces, circumstance, other people, fate, or chance. They see themselves as victims of the plot, rather than its creator. But I tell you now that every event, every relationship, every condition in your life is woven from the fabric of your own consciousness. Change your consciousness, and you change your story. A woman I knew had crafted a narrative of herself as someone who was always overlooked, always passed over for opportunities, always the last to be chosen. When she examined this story objectively, she realized it was sustained by her selective attention to events that confirmed her belief and her dismissal of evidence to the contrary. She had become so identified with this narrative that she unconsciously arranged her life to ensure its continuation, setting herself up for situations where she was likely to be overlooked. When she recognized this pattern, she made a radical decision to tell herself a new story. In her imagination, she began to see herself as someone who was valued, sought after, appreciated for her unique gifts. She consciously noted instances when she was acknowledged, when her contributions were recognized, when her presence made a difference. As she persisted in this new narrative, remarkable changes began to unfold. Colleagues who had previously ignored her ideas now sought her input. Opportunities that once seemed close to her now appeared accessible. She had not changed her basic personality or suddenly developed new skills. She had simply changed the story she was telling herself about her place in the world. And the world responded accordingly. The universe has been waiting for you to see that the conditions you experience are not the result of your actions, but of the state from which those actions spring. Two people may perform identical actions with vastly different results because they are operating from different states of consciousness. Consider two individuals who both start businesses with similar resources and similar market opportunities. One operates from a state of confidence, expectancy, and certainty of success. The other operates from a state of anxiety, doubt, and fear of doom. Though their external actions may appear nearly identical to an observer, the results they experience will be dramatically different because the state of consciousness infuses every decision, every interaction, every response to challenge with its own particular quality. The first entrepreneur will perceive opportunities where the second sees only obstacles. The first will inspire confidence in potential clients and partners, while the second unwittingly communicates doubt. The first will bounce back from setbacks with renewed determination, while the second will see each difficulty as confirmation of impending failure. It is not what they do, but who they are being while they do it that determines their results. And who they are being is determined by the state they occupy in consciousness. This principle applies not just to business, but to every area of life, health, relationships, creativity, spiritual growth. The state is everything. The universe has been waiting for you to see that there is a perfect timing to all manifestation, a gestation period between the planting of a seed in consciousness and its emergence into visible form. Just as a farmer does not plant seeds one day and expect to harvest a crop the next, you should not assume a new state today and expect to see complete transformation tomorrow. Nature cannot be hurried, but neither can it be delayed when the necessary conditions are present. The seed that is planted in fertile soil, given adequate water and sunlight, must grow. It cannot choose to remain dormant. Similarly, the state that is assumed with conviction and persisted in through faith must externalize itself in your experience. It cannot do otherwise. During the interval between the assumption of the state and its physical manifestation, your task is simple, but not always easy. To maintain the assumption despite all evidence to the contrary. To live as if your desire were already fulfilled. To be faithful to the state you have chosen to occupy. This fidelity to your assumption is what the Bible refers to as faith. Faith is not belief without evidence. It is loyalty to your chosen state before physical evidence has appeared to justify it. It is the conviction that what is true in consciousness must inevitably become true in experience, regardless of appearances. The universe has been waiting for you to see that you never manifest what you want. You always manifest what you are. Wanting implies lack, absence, separation from your good. Being is the recognition that what you seek is already yours in consciousness, and that consciousness is the only reality. When you say, I want abundance, you are affirming that abundance is not your current reality, and that affirmation perpetuates the experience of its absence. But when you declare, I am abundant, feeling the truth of that statement in every cell of your being, you are establishing abundance as your reality in consciousness. And that inner reality must objectify itself in your world. This is why Jesus taught. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. He understood that the feeling of having already received is the secret to manifestation. It is the shift from wanting to being, from seeking to finding, from hoping to knowing. The universe has been waiting for you to see that your imagination is not a fantasy factory separate from reality, but the very workshop in which reality is forged. What you imagine with feeling creates the mold into which experience flows. Control your imagination, and you control your destiny. Most people use their imaginative faculty haphazardly, allowing it to dwell on fears, past hurts, potential problems, and limitations. They do not realize that these mental states are the blueprints from which their future experiences will be constructed. They wonder why the same patterns keep recurring in their lives, without recognizing that they themselves are creating these patterns through their habitual imaginings. To harness the creative power of imagination, you must become conscious and deliberate in its use. You must train yourself to imagine only what you wish to experience, to feel only what you wish to perpetuate, to assume only the states that you wish to manifest. This discipline of mind is the true work of creation. The universe has been waiting for you to see that the outer world is plastic and malleable to the touch of consciousness. It is not fixed or solid as it appears to be, but is in constant flux, responding moment by moment to the patterns of your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. Physical reality is like clay in the hands of the potter. And you are the potter shaping the clay with the invisible hands of your consciousness. The clay has no power to determine its own form. It can only take the shape that you give it. Similarly, your circumstances have no power to determine your state of being. They can only reflect the state that you have chosen to occupy. The universe has been waiting for you to see that revision is not merely a psychological technique, but a practical application of the law of assumption. When you revise a past event in your imagination, feeling the reality of the revised version as if it had actually occurred that way, you are not engaging in wishful thinking or denial. You are literally altering the impact of that event on your present and future. The past exists in your consciousness as memory, and memory is not fixed or immutable. It is a living, dynamic aspect of your consciousness that can be transformed through the creative power of imagination. When you revise a painful memory, infusing it with new meaning, new emotion, new outcomes, you are changing the seed from which your present conditions grow. This is not to deny that events occurred, but to recognize that their significance, their emotional charge, their ongoing influence in your life is determined not by the events themselves, but by your consciousness of them. Change your consciousness of the past, and you change its power over your present and future. The universe has been waiting for you to see that everyone in your world is yourself pushed out, a reflection of your consciousness, playing roles that correspond to your assumptions about them and about yourself in relation to them. They are not independent entities operating from motives and purposes separate from your consciousness of them. They are the living embodiment of that consciousness. This does not mean that others do not have their own existence or their own free will. It means that what you experience of them, how they appear and behave in your world, is filtered through and shaped by your consciousness. You see not them as they are in themselves, but them as you are in yourself. When you change your consciousness of another person, when you revise your assumptions about them, when you imagine them behaving differently toward you, you are not manipulating them against their will. You are creating the conditions in consciousness that allow them to reveal different aspects of themselves to you. You are tuning your receiver to a different frequency and thus receiving a different broadcast. The universe has been waiting for you to see that your body is not the cause of your consciousness, but the effect of it. Your physical health, vitality, and appearance are the outpicturing of your habitual states of consciousness regarding yourself. Change those states, and your body must change accordingly. This is not to blame those who experience physical challenges or to suggest that all illness is your fault. It is to empower you with the knowledge that no physical condition is beyond the reach of transformed consciousness. Your body is continuously recreating itself cell by cell, according to the blueprint held in your consciousness. Change the blueprint, and the structure must change to match it. I have seen countless cases of physical transformation that followed a transformation in consciousness. People who had been told their conditions were chronic or incurable experienced remarkable recoveries after they shifted their assumptions about themselves and their bodies. They did not deny the presence of symptoms, but denied their permanence, their power, their inevitability. They claimed health in consciousness before health was evident to the senses, and in doing so, they created the conditions for health to manifest. The universe has been waiting for you to see that prayer, properly understood, is not petition to an external deity, but the feeling of gratitude and fulfillment that accompanies the consciousness of wishes fulfilled. When you pray correctly, you are not asking for something you lack, but giving thanks for something you have already received in consciousness. This is the meaning of the scripture, and all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. The belief that is required is not intellectual assent to a doctrine, but the feeling conviction that what you ask for is already yours. That feeling is itself the receiving, the acceptance in consciousness that precedes manifestation in fact. The most powerful prayer is not one of supplication, but one of acknowledgement, the recognition that what you seek has already been given, that the state you desire to occupy is already prepared for you, that the version of yourself that has transcended current limitations already exists and is beckoning you to claim your rightful inheritance. The universe has been waiting for you to see that sleep is not merely a physiological necessity, but a spiritual opportunity. A time when your conscious mind steps aside and allows the assumptions of the day to be impressed upon your subconscious mind without resistance or contradiction. The moments before sleep are a gateway to transformation, a time when the soil of the subconscious is particularly receptive to the seeds you plant within it. What you assume as you drift into sleep, the feeling state you occupy, the inner conversations you entertain, the mental images you hold will grow throughout the night and bear fruit in your waking experience. This is why the scripture advises, let not the sun go down upon your wrath. To fall asleep in a state of anger, worry, or fear is to nurture those states in the fertile soil of the subconscious. But to fall asleep in a state of gratitude, joy, and assurance is to nurture those states instead, allowing them to take root and take in your life. Develop the habit of reviewing your day just before sleep, mentally revising any events that were less than perfect, imagining them as you wish they had been. Then occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, feeling the naturalness of having what you desire, being who you wish to be. Fall asleep in this state, and you will be amazed at the changes that begin to unfold in your waking experience. The universe has been waiting for you to see that you are never a victim of circumstances unless you choose to be. The power to change your experience lies in controlling external conditions, but in controlling the state from which you view and respond to those conditions. Even in the most challenging situations, you have the freedom to choose the meaning you assign to events, the stories you tell yourself about what is happening and why, the expectations you hold for the future. This freedom cannot be taken from you by any person, any institution, any circumstance. It is your sovereign right as a creative being. When you fully embrace this truth, you will never again say, I had no choice, or they made me feel this way, or it's just the way things are. You will recognize these statements as applications of your creative power, surrenders of your divine inheritance. You will instead declare, I choose my response, I determine my emotional state, I create my reality from the inside out. The universe has been waiting for you to see that the feeling of love is the most powerful creative force available to you. Not romantic love alone, but love in its fullest sense, the feeling of connection, of oneness, of recognizing yourself in all things and all things in yourself. When you approach manifestation from a state of love, rather than a state of lack or fear, you align yourself with the fundamental nature of the universe, which is unconditional love expressing itself through infinite forms. In this state of alignment, what you desire flows to you with an ease and naturalness that seems miraculous to those who do not understand the law. Love dissolves the barriers between you and your good. It transforms wanting into having, seeking into finding, becoming into being. It is the ultimate state from which to create, for love knows no limitations, recognizes no impossibilities, accepts no restrictions on its infinite capacity to give and receive. The universe has been waiting for you to see that you are not here to struggle, to overcome obstacles through force of will, to earn your good through sacrifice and hardship. You are here to create, to express, to expand, to experience the joy of watching your inner states made manifest in outer form. The path of struggle is the path of separation, the belief that you must overcome something outside yourself to achieve your desires. The path of creation is the path of unity, the recognition that what appears to be outside yourself is actually a reflection of what is within, and that by changing the within, you inevitably change the without. Choose the path of creation. Choose to see challenges not as obstacles to be defeated, but as opportunities to practice your creative power, to refine your understanding of the law, to deepen your faith in the perfect correlation between inner state and outer manifestation. The universe has been waiting for you to see that time is not a barrier to the fulfillment of your desires. In the dimension of consciousness, the future event you long for already exists, complete and perfect. Your task is not to create it through time, but to align your consciousness with it now, to occupy the state of its fulfillment in the eternal present. When you enter the state of your wish fulfilled, feeling its reality with all the vividness of your imagination, you are not projecting that state into a distant future. You are claiming it in the now, the only moment that truly exists. From that state of present fulfillment, the outer manifestation unfolds with a timing that serves the greatest good of all concerned. The universe has been waiting for you to see that silence is often the most eloquent expression of faith. After you have planted the seed of your desire in consciousness, after you have felt its fulfillment as a present reality, there comes a time to be still, and know that the law is at work, bringing all things to pass in perfect order. In this silence, this mental Sabbath, you rest from your labors of conscious creation, trusting in the invisible processes that are transforming your assumption into fact. You do not anxiously dig up the seed to see if it is growing. You do not repeatedly declare your intention as if repetition were necessary for fulfillment. You simply know that what is true in consciousness must inevitably become true in experience, and in that knowing you find peace. My dear friends, the universe has been waiting for you to see all these things and more. It has been waiting for you to claim your rightful place as a conscious creator, to step into the fullness of your power, to recognize the divinity that has been within you from the beginning. Tonight, make a decision to live from this recognition. Choose a state that embodies what you be, to have. Enter that state in consciousness, feeling its reality, embracing its truth. Then go about your life from that state, letting your thoughts, words, and actions flow naturally from it. Do not strain or struggle to make things happen. Simply be the person who already has what you desire, and watch as the universe rearranges itself to accommodate your new state of being. Remember always that the outer world has no choice but to reflect your inner world, that circumstances have no power to determine your state, unless you give them that power, that what you experience is the direct result of what you are conscious of being. With this remembrance comes true freedom, the freedom to create your life exactly as you wish it to be, not through force or manipulation of externals, but through the conscious direction of your own awareness. The universe has indeed been waiting for you to see this truth, to grasp it not just intellectually, but with the full force of your being, to embody it in every moment of your existence. And now that you have seen it, now that you have heard it with understanding, you can never again be content with a life of limitation, a life of reaction rather than creation, a life dictated by circumstances rather than by choice. Go forth from this moment transformed by what you now know. Let every challenge be an opportunity to apply this law. Every apparent setback a chance to deepen your faith in the perfect correlation between inner state. Live as the divine creative being that you are, expressing the infinite potential that is your birthright, and watch as miracles become your daily experience. For in truth, there are no miracles, only the natural operation of law. The law that has been waiting for you to discover and apply it. And now that you have seen this truth, nothing in your life can ever be the same again. The universe has been waiting for you to see this, and now at last you have. Imagination is not fantasy as the world would have you believe. Imagination is the very substance of reality, the creative power of the universe itself. It is God in action, for we are told that man is made in the image of God. The Hebrew word for image is tselem, which carries with it the connotation of shadow or reflection. You are not merely a creation of God. You are the creative power of God individualized. Now let me share a story with you. A few years ago, a man came to one of my lectures in New York. He was financially destitute, had lost his business, his home was in foreclosure, and his family was on the verge of breaking apart under the strain. He asked me after the lecture, how can I possibly shift my energy when everything around me contradicts what I desire? How can I believe in abundance when my reality shows only lack? I told him what I will tell you now. The outer world is merely the effect. Consciousness is the cause. If you wait for the outer world to change before you change your consciousness, you will wait forever. For the world can only reflect what you are projecting. So I told this man, dare to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Live from the end. Feel the energy of what it would be like to have your business thriving again, to have your home secure, to have harmony in your family. He practiced this diligently, entering into the state of consciousness where his desires were already fulfilled, feeling the naturalness of it, the reality of it in his imagination. And within 6 months, not only had he started a new business that was more successful than his previous one, but he had also managed to save his home and restore harmony to his family life. Was this a miracle? No, it was the natural working of law. For as the great poet William Blake said, what seems to be is to those to whom it seems to be. Your reality is entirely subjective, and it conforms perfectly to your concept of yourself and the assumptions that you hold as true. Now, what does it mean to shift your energy? It is not enough to merely visualize what you want, though that is certainly part of it. To truly shift your energy means to so completely identify with the style desire that you feel yourself to be living from it now. You see, most people try to manifest from a state of wanting, of needing, of not having. But that energy of lack only perpetuates more lack. Imagine a radio. There are countless stations broadcasting simultaneously, but you can only hear the one to which you are tuned. Your consciousness is like that radio. There are infinite states of consciousness, infinite versions of reality all existing simultaneously. The one you experience is the one with which you are in vibrational harmony. The one that matches your energy, your state of consciousness. So how do you shift your energy to manifest your desired future? First, you must clearly define what you want. Be specific. The universe cannot deliver vague requests. If you want financial abundance, how much exactly? If you want a harmonious relationship, what qualities must it embody? If you want vibrant health, how does it feel to have it? Once you have clearly defined your desire, you must then do what seems to be the most challenging part, but which is in fact the simplest. You must assume the state of consciousness of already having it. You must feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let me ask you this. If you already had what you desire, how would you feel? What thoughts would you think? How would you carry yourself? What would your internal dialogue be like? When you can answer these questions and begin to embody those feelings, thoughts, and behaviors, you are shifting your energy to match the frequency of your desire. Now let me tell you about the law of assumption, which is the foundation of all manifestation. Whatever you assume to be true, your subconscious mind must accept, and it will work day and night to bring into your experience evidence of that assumption. This is not positive thinking. This is the recognition of how reality operates at its fundamental level. If you assume that you are loved, your subconscious mind will orchestrate events to bring you evidence of being loved. If you assume that you are wealthy, your subconscious mind will guide you toward opportunities for wealth. If you assume that you are healthy, your body will respond accordingly. But you must persist in this assumption until it becomes your dominant feeling, your natural state of being. Remember the words of Scripture, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Your transformation begins with the renewing of your mind, with changing your concept of yourself and the assumptions that you live by. Many of you have heard of the law of attraction, but few understand its true mechanism. The law of attraction is not about attracting things to you, it is about attracting you to things. You are drawn to the reality that matches your state of consciousness. When you shift your energy, when you change your state of consciousness, you are literally shifting to a different version of reality where your desires already exist. And this is where many fall short in their manifestation practices. They try to manifest while still identifying with the state of not having what they desire. It is like trying to broadcast on one frequency while tuning into another. It creates static, confusion, and ultimately disappointment. So how do you maintain this new state of consciousness, this shifted energy? Through mental diet. Just as you are careful about what you put into your physical body, be even more vigilant about what you feed your mind. Every thought, every internal conversation, every assumption is either aligning you with your desire or moving you away from it. Begin to observe your thoughts, your internal conversations. Are they of lack of fear, of doubt? Then change them. Replace them with thoughts and conversations that align with your desire fulfilled. This is not denial of your current reality. It is the recognition that your current reality is simply the harvest of seeds planted in the past. And you are now planting new seeds for a new harvest. Now, I want to address a common concern. Many of you may be thinking, but what about action? Don't I need to do something to manifest my desires? Yes, action is important, but it is inspired action that comes from your shifted state of consciousness, not action born of desperation or fear. When you have truly shifted your energy to align with your desire fulfilled, You will be naturally guided to take the right actions at the right time. It will not feel like effort or struggle. It will feel natural, inspired, almost as if you are being carried along by a current. Remember, the outer world can only reflect what is within. If your inner world is filled with doubt, fear, and lack, your outer world will reflect those states. But when your inner world is filled with certainty, love, and abundance, your outer world must and will reflect those states instead. I want to share another story with you. A woman once came to me who had been trying to manifest a loving relationship for years without success. She had tried everything, affirmations, vision boards, even dating apps, but nothing seemed to work. When we delved deeper, I discovered that while she consciously wanted a loving relationship, she harbored a deep-seated which she was unlovable. That any man who truly knew her would eventually leave her. No amount of external action could override this subconscious assumption. So I guided her to work on changing this core belief. Rather than trying to find love, I suggested that she become the embodiment of love itself. To feel so filled with love that it overflowed from her, to assume the state of being deeply loved and valued, not by any specific person, but as her natural state of being. Within 2 months of this inner work, of this energy shifting, she met a man who adored her exactly as she was. They are now married and have created a life together based on mutual respect, admiration, and deep love. She didn't find him, she became the version of herself who was already with him. This is the essence of manifestation through energy shifting. It is not about manipulating the external world. It is about transforming your internal world, knowing that the external must conform. Now, I want to address another aspect of manifestation that is often misunderstood, and that is the concept of time. In our three-dimensional world, we experience time as linear, as a progression from past to present to future. But in the fourth dimension, in the spiritual realm, all time exists simultaneously. There is only the eternal now. When you truly understand this, you realize that your future already exists. It is not something to be created. It is something to be selected through your state of consciousness. Think of it as a radio dial again. Your future of abundance, health, love, and joy already exists on a particular frequency. You don't need to create it. You only need to tune into it by shifting your energy to match its frequency. This is why patience is so important in manifestation. It is not about waiting for your desire to be created. It is about allowing the bridge of events to be built between your current physical reality and the reality where your desire already exists. This bridge is built automatically once you have shifted your energy, once you have assumed the state of consciousness of your wish fulfilled. But many of you become impatient. You shift your energy for a day or two, and then when you don't see immediate results, you revert state to old state of consciousness, your old energy. It is like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it has grown. You must plant the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, and then allow it to grow in its own time and in its own way. Remember the words of Scripture, in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Your harvest will come, but it will come in its own season, not necessarily unattainable. Your job is not to determine when or how your desire will manifest. Your job is simply to maintain the state of consciousness, the energy of already having it. And this brings me to another crucial aspect of manifestation, and that is detachment. Many of you become so attached to your desire, so fixated on it, that you actually push it away. For attachment comes from a place of fear that you might not get what you want. And that fear is a low-frequency energy that repels rather than attracts. True detachment comes from absolute knowing. When you know that your desire is already yours in the spiritual realm, when you know that it must manifest in the physical realm, if you maintain the right state of consciousness, then you can relax. Then you can let go of the desperate need to see it now. It is like ordering a package online. Once you've placed the order, you don't sit by your mailbox fretting and worrying about whether it will come. You know it will come because you placed the order. You go about your life, and when the package arrives, you receive it with gratitude. Manifesting your desires works the same way. Once you place your order with the universe by assuming the state of consciousness of your wish fulfilled, you must then release it, trust the process, and go about your life from this new state of being. Now, I want to talk about an aspect of energy shifting that is often overlooked, and that is the energy of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational states you can embody. When you are genuinely grateful, you are acknowledging that you already have what you desire, even if it has not yet manifested in the physical realm. Gratitude closes the gap between wanting and having. It is impossible to feel grateful and to feel lack at the same time. They are opposing energies. So if you want to shift your energy rapidly, begin to practice deep, genuine gratitude for your desire as if it is already yours. Each night before you sleep and each morning when you wake, give thanks for your desire fulfilled. Feel the feeling of gratitude wash over you. Allow it to permeate every cell of your being. This practice alone can completely transform your manifestation process. But there is an even deeper level of gratitude that I want to invite you to explore. And that is gratitude for what is, not just for what you desire. When you can find genuine gratitude for your current reality, even for the challenges and the lessons, you elevate your energy to such a degree that manifestation becomes effortless. For at the highest level of consciousness, you recognize that everything is perfect exactly as it is. Every experience, every challenge, every seeming setback is actually moving you toward your highest good. When you can embody this truth, when you can live from this understanding, you become a master manifestor. I want to share with you a powerful technique for shifting your energy. And that is the use of I am statements. I am is one of the most powerful phrases in any language because it defines your state of being. Whatever follows I am shapes your reality. Be very careful with the statements that follow I am in your internal dialogue. If you find yourself thinking or saying, I am sick, I am broke, I am unlucky in love, you are affirming and reinforcing those states of being. Instead, deliberately choose I am statements that align with your desires. I am healthy and vibrant. I am abundantly wealthy. I am deeply loved and in a harmonious relationship. Say these statements not as affirmations that you hope will become true, but as acknowledgments of what is already true in the spiritual realm, in the reality that you are now aligning with. Feel the truth of these statements as you say them. If resistance arises, if your mind argues with these statements, simply observe that resistance without judgment and gently return to the feeling of your statements being true. Over time, with persistence, these new I am statements will become your default state of being, your natural energy signature, and your outer world will reorganize itself to match this new inner state. Now I want to talk about a common obstacle to manifestation, and that is the energy of unworthiness. Many of you, at a subconscious level, do not believe that you deserve what you desire. This belief, this energy of unworthiness, acts as a barrier between you and your manifestations. Remember, the universe is abundant beyond measure. There is no limit to what you can have, be, or do, except the limits that you place upon yourself through your beliefs and assumptions. You are worthy of everything you desire simply because you exist, simply because you are an individualized expression of God, of the creative power of the universe. If you find yourself struggling with feelings of unworthiness, begin to work on healing this aspect of your consciousness. Recognize that these feelings are not the truth of who you are. They are simply beliefs that you have acquired throughout your life, beliefs that you can change. One powerful way to dissolve the energy of unworthiness is through self-love practices. Begin to treat yourself with the same kindness, compassion, and respect that you would offer to someone you deeply love. Speak to yourself with words of encouragement and affirmation. Care for your body, mind, and spirit as if they are sacred. As you cultivate self-love, as you shift from the energy of unworthiness to the energy of deservingness, you remove one of the most significant barriers to manifestation. And this brings me to another crucial aspect of energy shifting, and that is forgiveness. Unforgiveness, whether directed toward others or toward yourself, is a low-frequency energy that blocks the flow of your good. It keeps you chained to the past and prevents you from fully entering into the energy of your desired future. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful actions or staying in harmful situations. It means releasing the emotional charge, the energetic cord that binds you to people and events from your past. It means recognizing that by holding on to resentment, you are only hurting yourself. True forgiveness comes from understanding that everyone, including yourself, is doing the best they can with the consciousness they have in any given moment. As consciousness evolves, behavior improves. So forgive yourself for past mistakes, understanding that they were the result of your level of consciousness at that time, and forgive others for the same reason. This forgiveness practice will liberate tremendous amounts of energy that can then be redirected toward manifesting your desires. Now I want to discuss the role of belief in the manifestation process. Your beliefs are the foundation upon which your reality is built. A belief is simply a thought that you have thought so often that it has become automatic, unconscious. Many of your beliefs were formed in childhood, absorbed from your family culture and early experiences. Some of these beliefs serve you, but many do not. The good news is that beliefs can be changed. They are not fixed or permanent unless you consider them to be. To shift your energy for powerful manifestation, you must identify and transform the beliefs that are not in alignment with your desires. For instance, if you desire financial abundance but hold a belief that money is the root of all evil or rich people are greedy, you are creating internal conflict that will block your manifestation. Begin to examine your beliefs about the areas of life where you desire change. Write them down. Look at them objectively. Ask yourself, is this belief serving me? Is it helping me manifest my desires? Is it even true? If the answer is no, then decide to release that belief and replace it with one that is in alignment with your desires. Remember, a belief is nothing more than a thought that you have thought repeatedly. By deliberately choosing new thoughts and thinking them repeatedly with emotion and conviction, you can install new beliefs that support rather than sabotage your manifestations. And this brings me to another powerful technique for energy shifting, and that is the use of your imagination. Your imagination is not merely a faculty for daydreaming. It is the creative faculty through which you shape your reality. Every night before you sleep, enter into a state of deep relaxation and use your imagination to create a scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Make this scene as vivid and as real as possible. Engage all of your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel, smell, taste? Immerse yourself in this scene until it feels absolutely real to you, until you feel the joy, the gratitude, the satisfaction of your desire being fulfilled. Then carry this feeling with you into sleep. Your subconscious mind is most receptive as you fall asleep and as you awaken. By impressing your desire upon your subconscious in these receptive states, you are programming it to manifest in your physical reality. Do this consistently night after night, and you will be amazed at how your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match the inner world that you have created in your imagination. Now I want to talk about an aspect of manifestation that is often misunderstood, and that is the role of action. Many teachings on manifestation either overemphasize action, making it seem as if manifestation is all about hustle and effort, or they underemphasize it, making it seem as if you can simply visualize your desires and they will magically appear without any movement on your part. The truth lies in the balance. Manifestation requires both inner and outer work. The inner work is shifting your energy, changing your state of consciousness to align with your desire fulfilled. The outer work is taking inspired action from this new state of consciousness. The key word here is inspired. When you have successfully shifted your energy, when you are living from the state of your desire fulfilled, you will be naturally guided to take certain actions. These actions will not feel like struggle or effort. They will feel natural, exciting, almost as if you are being pulled toward them. This is the universe working through you to bring your desire into physical form. Your job is to remain in the energy of your desire fulfilled and to follow the intuitive nudges, the inspired ideas that come to you from this state. Sometimes the inspired action may be to do nothing, to be patient, to trust. Other times it may be to take a bold step you would never have considered from your old state of consciousness. Trust the guidance that comes from your shifted energy and act on it promptly. I want to address another common obstacle to manifestation, and that is the energy of doubt. Doubt is natural. It arises whenever we attempt to create something that we have not created before. Whenever we attempt to become something that we have not been before. But doubt need not derail your manifestations. When doubt arises simply without judgment, do not fight it or try to suppress it, as this only gives it more power. Instead, acknowledge it and then gently return to the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Remember, doubt is simply a thought, and a thought can be changed. Replace the thought of doubt with a thought of certainty, with the knowing that what you desire is already yours in the spiritual realm and must manifest in the physical realm if you maintain the right state of consciousness. One powerful way to overcome doubt is through evidence collecting. Begin to notice the small signs, the synchronicities, the coincidences that suggest your desire is on its way to you. These signs are everywhere once you begin to look for them. Acknowledging and appreciating these signs builds your faith and dissolves doubt. And this brings me to another crucial aspect of energy shifting, and that is the importance of consistency. Manifestation is not a one-time event. It is a way of life. You must consistently maintain the energy, the state of consciousness of your desire fulfilled in order for it in your physical reality. This does not mean that you will never have moments of doubt or fear or reverting to old patterns of thought. You are human, and fluctuations in energy are natural. But it does mean that you must consistently return to the energy of your desire fulfilled, especially after you have temporarily slipped from it. I think of it like learning to play a musical instrument. At first, it requires conscious effort and practice. You make mistakes, you get frustrated, but you keep returning to the practice. Eventually, it becomes second nature. You can play without conscious thought. It becomes a part of who you are. Manifestation works the same way. At first, maintaining the energy of your desire fulfilled requires conscious effort and practice. But as you persist, it becomes your natural state of being, your default energy signature. And this brings me to one of the most powerful secrets of manifestation, which is the understanding that you are not just manifesting things or experiences, you are manifesting a state of being. The things and experiences are simply the outer symbols, the physical reflections of this state of being. For instance, if you desire financial abundance, what you are really seeking is the state of being that you believe financial abundance will give you. Perhaps it's security, freedom, peace of mind, the ability to contribute to causes you care about. When you identify the state of being that underlies your desire and begin to cultivate that state now, regardless of your current circumstances, you accelerate your manifestation tremendously. But you are no longer trying to get something to feel a certain way. You are feeling that way now and allowing the outer symbols to naturally follow. This is why it is so important to clarify your desires, to understand what you truly want beneath the surface level desire. What state of being are you seeking? Once you've identified it, begin to embody it now. Feel it as your reality now. Live from it now. And watch as your outer world transforms to match this inner state. Now, I want to talk about an aspect of energy shifting that is often overlooked, and that is the energy of surrender. Many of you approach manifestation with a tight grip, with an energy of control and force. You try to micromanage the universe, dictating exactly how and when your desire should manifest. But true manifestation requires a balance of intention and surrender. You set your intention clearly. You shift your energy to align with your desire fulfilled. And then you surrender the outcome to the universe, to the wisdom of yourself, trusting that what manifests will be for your highest good, even if it doesn't look exactly as you had imagined. This surrender is not giving up. It is not resignation. It is a profound trust in the perfect unfolding of your life, in the benevolence of the universe. It is the recognition that your higher self, your divine self, may have an even grander vision for your life than your human self can conceive. When you can hold both clear intention and complete surrender simultaneously, You enter into a state of flow, a state of grace, where manifestation becomes effortless and joyful. And now I want to leave you with a final thought, a final truth about the nature of reality and the process of manifestation. Everything that you perceive in your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Everything. There are no exceptions to this rule. This means that if you want to change anything in your outer world, your finances, your relationships, your health, your career, you must first change the corresponding aspect of your inner world. You must shift your energy, your state of consciousness in relation to that area of life. This is both a tremendous responsibility and a tremendous freedom. It means that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances, of other people's actions, of the economy, of luck or fate. You are the creator of your reality, all of it, through the states of consciousness that you embody. So, choose wisely the states of consciousness, the energies that you embody. Choose states of love rather than fear, of abundance rather than lack, of health rather than illness, of harmony rather than conflict. Choose to live from the end, from the fulfilled desire, rather than from the wanting of it. Do this consistently with faith and patience, and your life will transform in ways that may seem miraculous to others, but that you will understand as the natural working of law, the perfect reflection of your shifted energy, your changed consciousness. Remember, I am is the self-definition of the infinite. Whatever follows I am in your consciousness defines your world. Choose your I am statements with care and with full awareness of their creative power. You are not merely a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are an individualized expression of the divine, with all the creative power that implies. Use this power consciously. Use it wisely. Use it lovingly. And your life will become a living testament to the truth that as within, so without. Shift your energy and you shift your world. It is the law. It is the promise. And it is the way.